The big breaking news today is that Hulk Hogan, at the age of 71 years old, has died. This is courtesy of TMZ Sports, as they broke the news this morning. Hulk Hogan dead at 71. We'll just kind of read the article, and then we'll get your reactions to this, Dan, as we go. Wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died at 71 years old. Medics were dispatched to the WWE Icon's Clearwater, Florida home early Thursday morning, with operators stating that it was regarding a cardiac arrest. So heart attack last night. We're told a slew of police cars and EMTs were parked outside Hogan's home, and he was carried on a stretcher into an ambulance. Cops tells officials, tell us officials, U.S. officials, tell us officials responded at the call at 9:51 a.m. So this just happened right before we went live. And Hogan was treated by Clearwater Fire and Rescue personnel before taken to a nearby hospital. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Police will provide additional details at a press conference later on Thursday.
That's crazy, man. The news went out fast. Sometimes the family tries to, postpone the spreading of the news, that sort of stuff, but it just happened.
Yeah. Really quickly. Just a few weeks ago, Hogan's wife, Sky, who he married in September of 2023, denied rumors that he was in a coma, stating that he was, quote, strong as he recovered from surgeries. We broke the story. It says that we broke the story last month. There were rumblings Hogan was on his, quote, deathbed, but we were told at the time he was just dealing with symptoms of neck procedure he underwent in May. Hulk transformed professional wrestling into a family entertainment sport. Before Hulk, wrestling catered to a very narrow audience. Hulk's theatrics in the ring were magnetic for children and parents, and it supercharged the sport. Hogan kickstarted the pop culture phenomenon with Hulkamania after defeating the Iron Sheik for the World Heavyweight Championship in 1994, a craze. This is the best statement here. A craze that never went away. I think that's very, very true here. Hulkamania still going today, man. If they were like on Raw or SmackDown or whatever WWE programming chooses to celebrate Hulk Hogan, which they should and they will, because if they don't, it's just a travesty. But whenever they play his music, the crowd will go fucking bonkers for him. It's going to be nuts. So he changed wrestling. He changed entertainment. I mean, Dan, you said it yourself. There are a few people that, down in Brazil, you said there was no wrestling, and he transcended entertainment down there.
Absolutely. And tell me a little bit more about his wrestling stuff. So from what I'm gathering by reading this, like, he created that sort of theatrical feel that we know wrestling for today.
So Hulk Hogan,
right?
Yes. I would say, okay. So Hulk Hogan was handpicked. This is the way I understand it. He was handpicked by Vince McMahon to be his guy. And he was going to be the guy who took the torch and rolled with it. Now, the big thing with Hulk Hogan and why he was so influential to wrestling and entertainment as a whole was not just that he was the guy for the WWF at the time, but Hulk Hogan would go into territories with Vince McMahon, and he was instrumental in more or less ending the territory system in wrestling. Are you familiar with what the territory system was, Dan?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so imagine a map of the United States, right? And all throughout the United States, there are different independent federations that are all throughout the United States. There's one in Florida. There's one in Texas. There's one in Alabama. There's one in New York in the Northeast. There's one in Seattle. There's one in whatever, right? And they all kind of operated independently, and they all had their own champion. Well, Vince McMahon, and the genius of him was he wanted to create a global entity. So he would go in and ultimately more or less buy out these entities, and Hulk Hogan was his main star to them being able to go in and do it. He was the main star of WWF, which ultimately made him the biggest star in wrestling. And he really kind of pioneered the kind of cartoony nature that you saw in the 80s of these like over-the-top characters, these superhero characters that, prior to that, they were just kind of dudes who wrestled, and but he kind of pioneered the big over the top character. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins. Say your prayers. His leg drop was iconic. Which, ironically, in that article we were talking about his him having surgeries. His finisher was a leg drop, where he'd come down and he'd drop his leg over somebody's chest or neck. Right? Are you familiar with his leg drop?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you know that. Okay, this is awesome because Hulk Hogan, but you legit have no idea, like, his wrestling.
No, about his wrestling career.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it. It's it's from the other stuff that I know him, his movies, that sort of stuff. As a culture, as a pop culture icon. I don't know his origins.
So here was his leg drop. Let me see if I can play this without getting flagged here. But this was his leg drop. This was pretty standard. And this was a major moment right here. So he'd come down and he'd drop the leg and he would hit people with it. And that was like, this moment in particular was really important because up to this point, Hulk Hogan had always been a good guy, always. And he was like the John Cena of wrestling at the time. And he was always a good guy. But at Bash of the Beach in like 1996 or 1997, whenever it was, he came down and you hear him, the reference to Hogan being the third man. Have you ever heard that reference before, Dan?
I heard it from you just a couple minutes ago.
Okay. So
what do you mean by that?
Okay. Do you know the NWO storyline? Do you know what the NWO is?
No, I know nothing about it.
Okay. I love this.
I'm really a beginner in that sort of stuff.
Dude, I love this. I love that you have no idea. Okay. So the NWO was one of the biggest factions of wrestlers at the time, really ever, right? You see people wearing these NWO shirts today. It is massive. So leading up in the storyline, there were two wrestlers, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And they had recently come over to WCW, which was a competitor of WWF at the time. And they had come over and they were talking about at this big pay-per-view event, there's going to be a third man, but they didn't tell anybody who it was. And Hulk Hogan had been on a break for a long time, like 6 months, and nobody had heard from him. And Hulk Hogan came out and everyone thought he was going to come help the good guys, but he turned heel or turned to a bad guy. And that's what helped create the NWO with this group of former WWF people in WCW, because Hogan was also a former WWF guy. And they turned in to be like, they were like the cool anti-hero, the cool bad guys that everybody loved to hate. It was awesome. And
that's awesome, man. It's like a Street Fighter story or something like that.
Right.
Like you have complicated plots, you have signature moves for each character.
Yes.
That's awesome.
1000%. And for people like me who grew up in the 90s, like I was there and I rode that entire train, the entire train of that storyline and stuff. And so Hulk was like peak good guy. He was also peak bad guy. At one point, there was a match with him and The Rock where it was an icon versus icon match. And you obviously know The Rock. The Rock, right? Another guy who's transcended wrestling. They had a match at WrestleMania where the plan was for Hulk to be the bad guy and Rock to be the good guy. And the crowd was so into it that they actually flipped it mid-script. So Rock became the bad guy and Hulk became the good guy. And because they kind of listened to the crowd and stuff, it's like this iconic moment in wrestling.
So they do have some independent agency right there at the moment.
The Rock and Hulk Hogan do.
Okay, those guys.
Yes, yeah. They do. And they listened, and it's like this iconic moment. The crowd was electric. It was up in Toronto, great wrestling crowd. It was really, really fun. So that's just the wrestling aspect of this, right? He was, obviously say your prayers, eat your vitamins. That was his whole shtick in the 80s. And then he turned into a bad guy in the 90s. And then he was always just kind of there in the background. He'd appear occasionally on WWE television. And most of the time he was cheered. There was obviously a lot of controversy around it. Blabs, you talked about steroids and stuff. He was heavily linked to steroids. And he was, going to go on trial for the steroid trial in the 80s.
Heart issues are very common for steroid users.
Yeah. And when you look at Blabs, see if you can find a list of wrestlers from the 80s who have now passed away, because making it to 71 as a wrestler is like honestly spectacular, because the abuse that they put their body through.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean,
So I already got a little bit of a list. Thanks
Sure.
to Google AI Overview, we have David Von Erich, Bruiser Brody, Adrian Adonis, Brian Pillman. Does that ring a bell to you guys?
yeah. So to me, it does. So Bruiser Brody was killed. Pillman, you know, like, so all these, but the big thing with a lot of wrestlers of that era, of like Hulk Hogan started in the 70s and really popped off in the 80s, but wrestling wasn't like it was today, right? Everybody knows that wrestling is quote unquote fake, right? Everyone knows it's a story. Everyone knows that there's twists and turns. The good guy's going to win. The bad guy's going to win. People get hurt, but they're not trying to hurt each other, right?
Mhm.
In the 70s and 80s, nobody knew this. It was just like, wow, these guys are getting in the ring and beating the hell out of each other. And it looked considerably more real than it did today. And honestly, it was more real because there were times where wrestlers who were just breaking in, they would literally go into these training camps and get the shit kicked out of them. And it was like a test of honor, test of might almost, if I could bring it back to video games, where they would, like, Hulk Hogan tells a story where he had his leg broken and he was out for like 6 months when he went into for training, and he had his leg broken, and they were like, if you really want it, come back, right? And then he had to come back like 6 months later after his leg had healed. And yeah, it was really fucking crazy. So yeah, I mean, this is a big deal to a lot of people. People are reacting online to this. This is just a quick overview from his Wikipedia page. You can see, you know, this is him several years ago here, but huge. Started in 1977, went huge and got big in the 80s, early 80s, but was way more than wrestling. He was like the first big guy to transcend wrestling. I remember him being on a show called Thunder in Paradise, which was a really big show. I don't know, Dan, if you ever saw Thunder in Paradise.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was a show where it was more or less Knight Rider on speedboats, which Knight Rider was an awesome show. Then it was more or less just go around and solve crimes on a boat. But like, look, by the way, everything I'm scrolling through here, this is just his wrestling career. Like I've been scrolling and scrolling. Like we're here. This is nuts. And the fact
what a legacy, man.
It was huge. Went down, did some small stuff after he went to TNA, which was a competitor. Now look, there's a lot of really positive things you can say about Hulk Hogan. There's also a lot of negative things you can say about Hulk Hogan, right? And you know, we could kind of, I hate doing like the dance on the grave thing, but I'll just say, like, a lot of wrestlers had a lot of issues with Hulk Hogan because he was a very smart business person. Built into his contracts, he had what was called creative control. And if he didn't want to lose, he didn't lose. If he didn't like the way the story went, he didn't have to go with it. And that was built into his contract. So Hulk Hogan he knew he was Hulk Hogan, which I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't quite understand, is that he knew his value and he wrenched that value. I mean, he was very, very wealthy because of the work that he did. And, you know, he'd go to different promotions and make his money, and then he'd get out. I mean, once again, I'm by the way, go back to the page. I'm still scrolling here. I've been scrolling this entire time. This is all his wrestling stuff. We haven't even got to, other stuff. This is nuts. So this is in 2008. His net worth was around $30 million. But he lived a lavish lifestyle, and he had a big divorce. He had a show called Hogan's Knows Best, that's where you got to know his family. It was big during the reality side of it. So look, there's a lot going on here, man. He was big time. You can see all of his stuff. He was, Dan, you'd know him from these movies here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I rented a lot of those in the 90s.
Yeah. Did you ever see Suburban Commando?
No, not this one. 91.
Yeah, this was really bad. It was really bad.
Oh, really? It's a bad one.
I watched it. I watched it probably 6 months ago. It's bad, really bad. But most people will know him from Rocky 3, where he was Thunder Lips. You mentioned that, Dan. You saw Rocky 3, yeah?
Thunder Lips. Yeah, but I think the first movie I watched from him was that Nanny one. What is it called? Mr. Nanny?
Oh yeah, Mr. Nanny. Yeah,
Mr. Nanny?
absolutely. Yes, yeah. Let me see if I can find the I think I deleted it. Let me refresh it real quick. But yes, Mr. Nanny was big in the 80s. Let's see if we can find it real fast. He was in Robot Chicken. He was in all sorts of things. All the WWE
it's like, it
stuff.
was the first movie. I don't know if that came before Kindergarten Cop, but it was the first movie that I saw with that little thing of a huge manly man has to deal with children, right?
Yeah,
so
which,
they did that with Schwarzenegger. They did that with The Rock recently, and but that one was the first that I saw with this idea.
yeah,
really funny.
It's kind of become this trope over the years.
Yeah, trope.
You know? Yeah. There we go. A little bit of Mr. Nanny for you there, Dan.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Oh man, I'm gonna rewatch that in
you
honor
should.
of Hulk Hogan.
In honor of the Hulkster, go back and watch Mr. Nanny. No Holds Bar was a silly. Like all of his movies were not masterpieces by any means. You know, like that's the thing.
It's like it's harmless fun, and I miss that kind of stuff, man. It seems like everything nowadays has to be Shakespeare, and it's like it's as if people were trying to do their ultimate masterpiece every time they go for doing a movie, and it's okay, just doing some harmless fun.
Chat's talking about the Pacifier with Vin Diesel. That movie is a lot of fun, actually. I love that one.
I was thinking about that one.
Yeah.
It's great. You can see his, Rocky 3 was his first movie, and that really put him on the map. You're in any Rocky, that was a big deal. And he beat the hell out of Stallone in that movie.
Yeah, I heard about it. Like Stallone says, like he went for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a scene in it where he's like, "It's all, I'm just putting on a show, brother," or something like, really great. So yeah, it took him several years. He was big on wrestling, but he didn't really take himself too hard, too seriously. Most of the time in movies, he appeared as himself, Spy Hard of all things, Santa with muscles.
He was on Spy Hard. That's true. I completely forgot about that. It was a short cameo.
You ever see Santa with muscles?
Yes, a long time ago.
I love that you did that. That's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Long fucking time ago.
Muppets from Space over here. Oh. There you go. Nice. The ultimate weapon.
Bunch of cameos.
Yeah. That's great. So yeah, Hulk Hogan, man. He was in video games as well. I mean, look at all these games he was in. Obviously, all the WWE games.
Yeah.
Golly, WCW games.
A bunch of them.
One of the best wrestling games ever. WCW NWO World Tour, in 1997. It's great. I forgot he was in the TNA games as well. So, but obviously, I don't know, Dan, as somebody who is aware of Hulk Hogan, does this help put things in perspective a little bit better?
Absolutely, man. It's like sports and pop culture in general were always connected. Like you had Hercules with Steve Reeves, which was a bodybuilder and made his way through bodybuilding to sports. Obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger repeated that, and you always wonder, where did that guy came for before all of that? And it's like it's great to learn that about Hulk Hogan. It's really cool. Is there somewhere I can watch those old wrestling shows, some kind of archive or something like that?
Yeah, so you can watch it. I don't know if you have Peacock. Do you have Peacock?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch a lot of wrestling stuff on Peacock right here. So
interesting.
Yes. All right, well, let's get to some reactions.
Some homework.
You should. Now, look, I would be you can't talk about Hulk Hogan without some of the controversies as well. There was he did have a look up like the Bubba the Love Sponge controversy where he was like sleeping with his wife and stuff. It was there's a lot of like really messy things. Yeah, it's no one's perfect. Hulk Hogan was not perfect by any means, but that doesn't mean he wasn't an icon to a lot of people. And I think that's, everybody's flawed. Everybody is. And some are more flawed than others. Hulk Hogan, definitely a pretty flawed dude. But I think the thing that he represents was bigger than Hulk Hogan, right? He represented whether he was a piece of shit in real life or not, the character of Hulk Hogan, not necessarily Terry Bollea, is what people really admired, was the idea of Hulk Hogan, not necessarily Terry Bollea, the person. So
he has some pretty long conversations, pretty long episodes of Joe Rogan on Joe Rogan podcast. It's like, I don't know. I obviously I don't know him. I don't know Hulk Hogan personally, but it's really hard to pretend and wear a mask for like on a conversation with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, if you talking for 3 hours,
For
it's
three
very, very
fucking
hard.
hours, yeah.
Yep. Well, let's get to some reactions to folks. Yeah, I'd say, one of the things that Hulk Hogan actually caught the most heat for recently when it comes to American, like the American zeitgeist in the American political world, was actually when he appeared at the Republican National Convention last year. Did you see this? Did you ever see this, Dan?
I don't think so. It doesn't sound
I actually saw this one.
Yeah. So
Hey.
then that's just it. So he came in, and this was like one of his last big public appearances here was at the RNC.
What happened last week?
Oh, I saw this.
A shot at my hero. And they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
People were hyped.
Yeah,
after
man.
that.
I actually saw that live. It was awesome. It was freaking awesome.
Blabs about here ready to run through a wall after that. She's like, yeah, let's go.
I don't think so. I'm contained. Thank you.
Well, you
Oh,
look like you were
man.
hyped.
No,
There'll
not
be
really.
there'll be a lot of weirdos like celebrating his death, man. Because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
going to call out Mercenary here because he was all so happy and giddy that Ozzy died, but now he's like, oh no, Hulk died. It's like, what a contrarian. Anyway, it's fine.
Well, no, I mean that's the thing is everybody means something to.
Yeah, but it's just weird wishing death on someone and being happy that someone dies. I don't know. You never met this person, and you're like, yes, he's dead. It's like, okay.
But Blabs, it's not about him. It's not about meeting him. It's about what he represented, right? Like the idea of like Terry Bollea was a dude. Hulk Hogan was larger than life, right? And Hulk Hogan represented, the say your prayers, eat your vitamins, do good in school, do all these positive things. The Hulk Hogan character was a positive role model, right? Ozzy Osbourne, for a lot of people was seen as, regardless of if he found faith or whatever it is at the end of his life, he was seen as this like bad influence on people just from whatever. So it really just comes down to your
even though
drugs,
Hulk Hogan also
tons of reasons.
did the drugs with the steroids.
Yeah, dude. Listen, it's all comes down to your perspective. Like, look, hey,
I know, my point is like wishing death on one celebrity. Kind of weird.
You shouldn't wish death on anybody.
Well, that's literally my point.
Yeah, but once again, it's I'm not going to tell anybody how they should feel, but I will tell you what people are feeling right now. RGT85, huge fan of Hulk Hogan, over on Twitter says, "Rip Hulk Hogan. I'm fucking devastated. I have a vid uploading right now, and then I'm disappearing for the day. Thank you for signing my book before your passing. Y'all have a good one." RGT, mega Hulk Hogan fan, mega retro game guy. Dan, do you know RGT?
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. I mean, the idea that, he may have signed his book, may have met him, but they weren't like friends. But this is what this stuff does.
Oh, yeah. And he's taken the day off to mourn the passing of Hulk Hogan. And I saw also James Rolfe when Ozzy passed. It's like, hey, I'm taking the day off, man, to mourn this legend. And it's amazing how it can have an impact on on a bunch of strangers' lives, and to the point that they mourn you when you pass.
Yeah. Yes, 1000%. There's so much here. You know, I'll tell you this: Hulk Hogan transcended wrestling down in Brazil, right? I mean,
yeah.
What about Ric Flair? Do you know who Ric Flair is?
Ric Flair, I might recognize if you show me a picture,
Okay.
but not
So-
from the name.
The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Now, look, I'll tell you this, on my bingo card, I did not have Ric Flair outliving Hulk Hogan, because Ric Flair, this is the Nature Boy. Let's go share my screen here. He said over on X, "I'm absolutely shocked to hear about the passing of my close friend Hulk Hogan. Hulk has been by my side since we started in the wrestling business. An incredible athlete, talent, friend, and father. Our friendship has meant the world to me. He was always there for me, even when I didn't ask for him to be. He was one of the first to visit me when I was in the hospital with a 2% chance of living, and he prayed by my bedside. Hulk also lent me money when Reed was sick. Hulkster, no one will ever compare to you. Rest in peace, my friend."
That's
So,
amazing.
I don't. Does Ric Flair look familiar to you at all?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know
Yeah,
where
yeah.
I've seen him though, but it does definitely look familiar.
Well, Jesse the Body Ventura. Let's see. I thought he popped up as well. No, but WWE has actually posted an article as well here, or a video as well. The legendary Hulk Hogan, just a quick video, which I don't want to play too much, but you can see kind of it's him in the 80s. You know, this is where he's gonna drop the leg and body slam Andre the Giant, which will certainly get flagged for that. Razor Fist over on X says, "Thank you, Hulk Hogan, for the Hulkamania of my childhood, for the new world order of my teens, most of all, for being man enough to surrender all those prodigious achievements to the baptismal pool, arising a Christian. Godspeed, brother. Now rest." Yeah. There's tons of video of Hulk Hogan getting baptized later in life.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's interesting.
Which, you know, it's nuts, man. This is one of those that you look at and you go, "Whew, wow, this is gonna hit a lot of people hard." And did not wake up today thinking that. I mean, the fact that my wife came in was like, "Yikes!" And said something about it is nuts. So, this past week, we have had Theo from the Cosby Show, which I don't know if you're familiar with Theo from the Cosby Show.
No, I'm not.
But we had Ozzy Osbourne pass away as
Yeah.
well, and now Hulk Hogan. They say things come in threes, man, and there's your third. Hulk Hogan, truly the third man, making his way to heaven or hell, depending on what you think about Hulk Hogan. I don't know. Look, we'll see. But yes, very, very weird and crazy. So, Blabs, you got any closing thoughts on Hulk Hogan?
I'm sad for people who are sad, but he did not affect my life in any way. So to me,
See-
he's a stranger. But listen, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, he's a shithead," or "Oh no," because I don't know enough about him. So
Not even
So-
the 90s movies? You didn't see
I've
him?
never seen, like, at least maybe I've seen some of his stuff, like in clips, or like I've seen like bloopers on YouTube, but I'm not a wrestling person. I know nothing. I literally just found out this year that Dusty, Cody, they're all related. I'm like, yo, that's cool.
Yeah.
So
So let me say this, Blabs. You say Hulk Hogan didn't affect you by any means.
no, not me personally, but I'm not denying he affected other people. I never even said that.
I know, but what I am going to say is Hulk Hogan affected somebody that affected you. I guarantee that.
That's a good point.
Okay.
You know, so that's the best way I can say to wrap it up. Whether he affected you or not, he affected somebody who affected you. So, and I'm not speaking directly to Blabs, I'm speaking to everybody. So, you said that WWE made it. Yes, WWE has made a statement on this. WWE is saddened to learn WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan has passed away, one of pop culture's most recognizable figures. Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 80s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. So there we go. Rest in peace, Hulkster. Hulkamania.
Rest in peace.
Hulkamania will never die. Are you tired of all the nonsense? Yeah, you are. Hit the subscribe button right here and join us.